Don't use the 4% rule. Use the tax bracket rule. Welcome back to the show. Show's called Your Money or Wealth. Joe Anderson, Big Al, answering your money questions. Coming back to answer Jeff from San Diego's question here. I'm 61 and my wife is 60. Assuming we retire at age 65, we are projected to have approximately $2 million in retirement savings, $200,000 in a Roth, $1.8 million in pre-tax accounts, plus $300,000 in an after-tax brokerage account, and $200,000 in cash. Okay, so he's got a couple $1 million plus $500,000 outside of retirement accounts.
Yeah, right.
2.5.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Agreed.
Okay, would like to delay collecting Social Security until 70 to maximize my benefits, while my wife would like to collect hers at age 67. We expect to need about $120,000 to $140,000 per year. What would be some spitball strategies to determine where to pull the funds during the 5 years before I start Social Security? One idea is to pull 4% from my pre-retirement tax accounts and then the rest from the brokerage account in cash. The idea is to spend down some of the pre-tax savings before the RMDs kick in. Some of the brokerage cash withdrawals could be reduced once my wife starts receiving her Social Security benefit. At 70, I would expect my Social Security benefit to be about $54,000 a year, and at 67, my wife's benefit would be around $18,000 a year. At that point, we wouldn't need to draw as much from our brokerage and cash accounts in them, as well as the Roth account. It could be earmarked for any significant medical or long-term care expenses that may arise later in life. Is this plan making sense? Thank you, and keep up the good work. Best, Jeff from San Diego.
So that this looks good in terms of it probably working based upon the spending. Although now you got a stub period, right? It's like, how do you pull money out to pay for the bills between 65 and 70 when you're not taking your Social Security? And Jeff, your plan is fine, but there's a better one. So you got to take a look at the tax brackets. And so the top of the 12% bracket for this year in round numbers is $90,000, right, for a married couple. And you get a standard deduction of about $25,000, right? So in other words, you get that for nothing. So you can add the 90 and the 25, which means you can have $115,000 of income and stay in virtually the lowest tax bracket. So you want to maximize that. So 115 should come out of the pre-tax retirement accounts. Some of that should be converted to a Roth conversion. Some of that maybe you live off of, you kind of balance it out. If you want to go extreme, you live off your cash and your brokerage account 100%, and you convert, right, $115,000 in a low tax bracket and end up with a lot more in a Roth. If you want to kind of mix and match, you can do that too, but make sure that you maximize that low bracket, because right now your current plan, you're not maximizing the 12% bracket. You're wasting some of that.
Spot on, right? Because at that 12% tax bracket, it's probably going to go to 15.
Yeah, right.
Right. And so can you get money out of a pre-tax retirement account at ordinary income rates at the lowest rate that you might ever see in your life?
Right.
And so you absolutely don't use the 4% rule, use the tax bracket rule, right? So look at the top of the 15 or the 12% tax bracket, and it's 115. What I would do, you might convert the whole 115 1 year. So you get 115,000 in 1 year, right? And then you live off of cash in your brokerage accounts. And then the next 4 years, you might,
mix and match.
Yeah, split it up a little bit, depending on what the need is. Maybe you go back to work part-time and make a couple of bucks. But look at the tax brackets. Don't think about the 4% rule at all. The 4% rule is garbage, in my opinion, when you're looking at distributions. You don't want to use that. It's a good gauge of rule of thumb to determine how much capital or cash that you should have at retirement, right? But not taking 4% out of your portfolio every year. You don't want to do that, because you could blow yourself up depending on what happens with the overall markets. So especially in his case, because he's got monies in the Roth account, he's got monies in a retirement account, he's got a brokerage account, he's got cash. So he's diversified somewhat from a tax perspective.
Yes, that's right.
But he's heavily overweighted in the retirement account. So if he's going to pause and not take Social Security until age 70, his wife has got a few years, so you got this stub period. You can control your taxes way more in retirement than any other point in your life. And so this would be a huge opportunity for him to get money, bleed it out I like where his head's at. He's like, I want to bleed some of this money out in that low bracket, but go to the top of the bracket and then probably do some conversions.
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.